If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stick a smile on your dial. Now, common sense says that if somebody's got a smile on their face, they're probably happy. If somebody's got a grumpy, angry face, common sense will tell us that that person is probably grumpy and angry. But here's my very important question. What the hell is common sense? And it's been suggested that common sense is not very common. So if I ask you, what does that mean to you? What does common sense mean to you? Do you have an explanation? And there's lots of different ones, but how about we consider this, that if it makes sense, it's probably common sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably nonsense, no sense. So, for example, it's cold tonight, so I've got a jacket on. Common sense says, Ro, if you're cold, you put a jacket on. The reverse of that, if it's stinking hot outside 40 degrees, common sense says don't put a ski jacket on because it's too hot to wear a ski jacket. Now, is that life experience or is that just common sense? As an exercise professional, this has been a really interesting, fascinating driving force for me my entire career, because most of the things in the exercise or what people do and call exercise doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense. And if you analysed it for yourself based on common sense, you'd probably look at that exercise, look at that eating plan, look at that whole process of getting into shape that most people preach at us on a daily basis, particularly now on social media, and would say, well, that's just nonsense. But you'd have to apply common sense to it. And is it possible that if you're not healthy, fit and strong and your brain's not working very well, that your common sense is not going to work very well either? And I'll just use the example. The endocrine system, which is your body's entire system to make sure that you don't die, that you survive, and that you thrive so that you can reproduce. Biologically, that's what we're designed to do as humans, is survive and thrive so that we can reproduce. So if your endocrine system's not working very well, and that happens simply because we're not fit and strong. If you're not fit and strong, every system in your body gets busted. Your endocrine system, your central nervous system, cardiovascular system, obviously because you're unfit. Your muscles and bones, your skeletal system and muscular system don't work well because you're weak and frail. Your digestive system doesn't work well because you're not feeding it effectively. Your immune system's busted because you're unhealthy, so that you can't fight germs, bugs, viruses and diseases. So if you've got a busted, broken body, how can you have then common sense to think clearly? And if common sense is all about working it out for yourself and thinking clearly, then it just makes common sense that the human race is not doing very well, which is why common sense has become very rare and it's not common anymore. So if you have a look at most exercise programs and most eating plans, they don't make any sense. They certainly won't make sense for you, and they technically don't make sense to anybody because they're not based on anatomy and physiology. They're not based on how the human body works. But there's two questions. How would you know that if you didn't know your anatomy and physiology? But you don't have to, most exercises, you can look at them and say, that doesn't make sense to me. Most exercises, if you did them in a workplace, on a construction site, in a warehouse, you would be able to sue the people that got you to do that movement because it's going to hurt your back, your neck, your knee, your shoulder. They would be against the law in any other place except the gym. Why is it that in the gym we do exercises that will break joints, bust your body, wear your body down, and they don't make any sense? Why do we do them? And if you know your anatomy and physiology, you wouldn't do them. But if you followed your common sense, you wouldn't do it either. It's just that it seems that because everybody else is doing it, that I'm going to do it too. And does that make sense? 50 million people doing a dumb thing doesn't mean it's not a dumb thing, but it seems we get influenced. If we see 50 million people doing something, we think, well, it must be right. But that's not common sense either, is it? Just because it's a stupid thing to do, why would I do it? And this is where you can probably hear in my voice, I get fascinated and frustrated because we have a world that is fat, sick, weak, diseased, depressed, and it's never been like this in history, this bad. But the things that we're doing don't make any sense. So if you put crappy food into your body and expect to be healthy, that doesn't make any, it's not common sense. If you do an exercise that puts shearing forces across your joint's going to wear out. So if you do exercises that hurt your joint, you have to expect to have a hurt joint. That's just common sense. And I'll share it again though, that same movement pattern, if you did it in a workplace, you could sue the people that gave it to you But if a gym instructor or a personal trainer gives it to you, for some ridiculous reason, people think that it's okay. Why? No common sense. But maybe the reverse is that we've lost our common sense because we're unfit and we're weak and we're frail. So how about this? Rather than just believe what people tell you, if you really want to be fit and you really want to be strong and you really want to be lean and you really want to be healthy, how about, yes, learn your anatomy and physiology, but to even be able to learn, you have to have a healthy, fit, strong brain. And that healthy, fit, strong brain, which then has common sense, will be able to figure out, is this a safe exercise? Is this a good eating plan? Will this work for me? And I'm going to throw a whole heap of things at you. We tell people to do 3 sets of 10. We say do 10,000 steps. We say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We say that this is a safe exercise when you're doing this to a joint, your shoulder joint or your knee joint or your lower back. There's a lot of things that people will tell you to do that don't make any sense at all. And if you analyse them for yourself, and I'll just use the 10,000 steps. You have to do 10,000 steps, so click it on your watch. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if you only did 9,999? Does that mean that you wouldn't be fit and you wouldn't be lean? What if you do 15,000 but you do them slowly? Does that mean that you'll be much leaner? Does it matter how intense the exercise is? Should it matter? Why do we just listen to 10,000 steps, believe the person that told us and go, okay, I've got to do 10,000 steps? It doesn't make any sense, no common sense. Why is it 3 sets of 10? What if you can do 11? What if you can only do 9? What if you get injured if you do 10 because it's too heavy or too many? Why would we focus on a number rather than how the human body works, which is what are the energy systems that drive my body to be healthy, fit and strong? Why would I do a little exercise if I want to get a big result? Why would I do a long, slow, boring exercise program that I'm not likely to stick to if I want to get a great result? See, these are all really good questions that I've been asking for a really long time because I want to apply common sense and logic to an exercise program and an eating plan. If somebody tells you what to eat and you don't like that food, why would you eat something that you don't like? It doesn't make any sense. And if somebody tells you you can't have that, but it's food that you really love, why would you do that? Because you love that food. So you're either going to hate them for telling you that you can't have it, hate yourself for not eating it, feel guilty if you do eat it, and or not eat it, and sometime in the future binge eat, and then feel guilty because you ate too much. See, that doesn't make any sense. So maybe before we go to any kind of advice about eating or exercise or anything for that matter, how about we think about it logically from a common sense point of view? Does this make sense or is it just nonsense? Could they be really good questions to ask? And if you're healthy, fit and strong and your brain's working really well, is it possible that all of that will work beautifully all by itself? Because a healthy, fit, strong brain will automatically want to have a healthy, fit, strong body attached to it, so you will think more clearly and make better decisions. Wouldn't that be a good idea to live your life to the max?